Welcome to Breaking Boundaries, brought to you by Women's Cricket Zone. I'm Snehal Pradhan, former India cricketer. With me is Karunya Keshav, co-author of the book The Fire Burns Blue, chronicling the history of women's cricket in India. And we are talking about the present. We're talking about the Women's World T20 here in the West Indies, where India have today beaten Pakistan. Australia have comprehensively beaten Ireland. And just looking back today, there was one talking point that stood out, Karunya, and it was that 10-run bonus that India got going into the next game.
So this is probably the first time this has ever happened that in one day there were three instances of teams being penalized. Not only was Pakistan penalized, but Ireland also afterwards. Australia had 5 runs added to their total because the Ireland batters also ran onto the pitch. So just to make it clear what exactly was happening. So what we know from what the umpires told us, what the players told us, was essentially that a lot of the Pakistan batters, they had been warned previously about running onto the protected area of the pitch. I think from what Javeria Khan, the Pakistan captain, said, it was about 3 times. I think the umpires also later said that it was around 2-3 times that they warned the batters. And when that didn't change, they were penalized the 5 runs. So, as what a lot of the players have told us, the rule is a rule.
Moving on, the highlight of the day probably was the biggest talking point in that dominant win from India over Pakistan. It's been a while since they had a one-sided win. Was the fact that Mithali Raj was moved back to the top of the order after not getting to bat in the last game for the first time, I think, in her T20 career. So that was a move again, which probably might go with horses for courses. She said after the game that because Pakistan had a spin-heavy attack, that's why she was moved back to the top of the order.
I think that makes complete sense. Probably a more traditional approach to T20Is is when you say, I want my best batter to be facing the most number of balls. But that idea is sort of changing a little bit now. We've seen Australia do it quite well, where they pack their top order with big hitters and they're looking for maybe like 20 runs, 30 runs, but quick runs from them. And then you have someone like a Meg Lanning or Elise Perry coming lower down the order. So I think India sort of considered that with Mithali Raj so that they have the stability in the middle order. And against a side like New Zealand, they probably wanted to go out swinging right at the start. So it may have worked for New Zealand, but Pakistan, who also tend to play a more conservative game, it it helped to have Mithali's experience up the order.
So the big question now is that in the next game, when India play Ireland next, do they use Mithali Raj opening the batting? Do they switch back to Tanya Bhatia? Do they try Jemima Rodriguez, who is in good form? So I think it's worth, especially against Ireland, giving Tanya Bhatia a go, because I think that is what you will want to do against Australia. Against Australia, you'll want to make your batting order as long as possible, and having Mithali in the middle order, I think, works better for that, as well as for the long term, because like Mithali just said in the press conference today, this is going to be her last T20 World Cup. So that is one thing. Another, like you said, Australia with power hitters at the top, and they really showed that today. Alyssa Healy, the fastest 50 in World T20 history, the second fastest 50 ever. And she's just really enjoying herself, really in good form.
She's just in incredible form. I think right from the Pakistan series, before that the New Zealand series.
Yeah.
She mentioned a couple of days ago, she did mention that how after the World Cup, she sort of went back, saw those videos and saw that she wasn't really putting as much as she could do into her game, went back, reassessed, and she seems to be on a wonderful run right now.
Yeah, she said she added the sweep shot to her armory, and that just makes a difference. Knowing that you can hit anywhere, it makes you more confident even about your bread and butter shots. So one-sided win against Ireland for Australia. Tomorrow we've got a couple of games which may be one-sided. There are teams which are ranked slightly high and slightly low. England take on Bangladesh, South Africa take on Sri Lanka. The biggest question is whether we'll have any cricket at all, because it is still quite wet in St. Lucia.
Looking at those games again, England, if it gets washed out again, probably England again. We spoke about this yesterday, how they they're going to be really
Disadvantage, yeah.
they're going to be really disappointed if they lose another game, because they will be backing themselves to win this.
So if you guys believe that the rain gods exist, make some prayers to them. Hopefully we get as much cricket in this World T20, because it's been a wonderful tournament so far. Great start, lots of records, lots of runs, and hopefully we can continue the trend. Keep watching Women's Cricket Zone, breaking boundaries, bringing you all the latest insights here from the Caribbean, and we will see you in the next video. Don't forget, Karunya's and Siddhant Patnaik's book is now available for pre-order, so definitely check it out on Amazon. The Fire Burns Blue. See you next time.